Previously on Renegade Platinum. Oh my god, they've hit the third late. Reggie, former CEO of Nintendo America.
Meine Arbeit für richtig Geld.
Watched like king. I ended up climbing the wrong side of the mountain and got lost for like an hour. What do you mean missiles were fired at the Kalos region? So after last episode, you'd think the world would be at peace. Tesla's dead, Satan's dead, the world should be fine, right? Wrong. Apparently I'm a wanted criminal now and the entire country is on a manhunt to arrest me. And for what? All I did was mug the elderly, burn down some family's home, mistreat my animals, fail to pay back my loans, assault a minor, bomb France, kill Satan, which caused a power vacuum in hell as demons are now emerging across the country in the hopes of gaining power and replacing him. And worst of all, I killed Elon Musk and single-handedly dissolved Tesla as a business, resulting in lasting economic problems as he was a major source of finance to the government through taxation, thus proving that all the government really cares about is money and is fine with turning a blind eye to large corporations using scummy practices for their own benefit. In the game, of course. But why can't the government just overlook all that? And so I've decided that the only reasonable course of action is completely getting rid of the government. Anarchy is always the solution. But that won't be easy as many fights lie ahead. We have coming up one Battle Frontier member, 2 rival fights, the entirety of Victory Road, the Pentagon, and a partridge in a pear tree. Now before you ask, I don't know why I need to fight this woman and her comically large bird, because I never tried to progress normally. I just assumed that the game would have some stupid ass reason as to why I can't leave until I fight her. Her team may be scary, but I have 2 advantages over her. The first is that I'm a genius and have accounted for everything that she could possibly throw at me. Second, this here is the recommended level cap for this fight alone. This here is the actual level cap. Do you see where I'm going with this? The battle begins... oh shit. The battle begins with Pelipper, who hasn't been seen up until now because he doesn't have an ability that gives God the urge to piss, facing against Blaziken. Blaziken here has been trained to set up and baton pass for another team member to sweep me with double attack and 1.5 times speed. But I've prepared for this. See, I gave Pelipper quick attack, meaning that after my surf brings Blaziken to his focus sash, I'm safe to snipe him with a priority quick attack before he can... Okay, well the outcome is still the same, except now I'm severely disappointed. My quadruple weakness to currents of more than 2.5 volts baits in Big Bird earlier than anticipated. Shrek is therefore safe to come in on a Thunderbolt before spamming Rock Slide as Big Bird can't do any meaningful damage. I should have heavily restricted my abilities here. My 7 level advantage won't save me from Ludicolo, who threatens Shrek with a 4-time super effective Giga Drain. I decide to send in Kermit, who resists the attack and can retaliate with a Poison Jab for a clean kill. Medicham is brought in next, meaning I have to switch back to Shrek on a huge Power Zen headbutt, which Medicham's locked into thanks to its choice scarf. I gamble on living another one, and I do, which allows me to launch an Earthquake that barely doesn't kill. Thankfully I can stall a bit to gain some leftover recovery and oh you bitch! Now Medicham is back to full HP and I have to switch. I decide that Pelipper should be sent in due to having the highest defense stat and she's able to brush off a Zen headbutt with relative ease. We're then safe to kill with a single air slash before Dusknoir threatens us with Thunder Punch. Apple Pie comes in and is immune to the attack and the voices. I'm able to resist and start going for plays that aren't fucking stupid and soon kill with 2 flamethrowers. Finally, Togekiss comes out as nothing more than a test subject for me to use for showing off Blorb, who I caught in the Safari Zone way back in part 5. Blorb is hit by 2 hurricanes, which he recovers from by using Rest, a move that he instantly wakes up on due to his held Chesto Berry, and this allows Blorb to launch a series of sludge bombs which win us the fight. The Battle Frontier member leaves and... holy shit. And following this, we now have the ability to make our way to Victory Road, a treacherous path that will include nothing but pain and misery for me. Nonetheless, I still get a new encounter here, so I walk in and holy fucking shit, prepare to fucking die, Cynthia, I'm gonna use your own weapon against you. His name is Jeff, and I love him. Unfortunately, this will be the last good thing that happens to me on Victory Road as a series of tragedies befall me. Reckon Moyne can do something about this? That is highly unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. It's got flamethrower. Are you fucking with me? Pooh. Mate. Fuck you. Yeah, the game requires you to go to Route 224 and fight Dawn before you can challenge the Pokemon League, but don't worry, that's not the only bullshit I run into. You look like you're gonna hurt me. Are you fuck? Just to clarify here, the guide I was using did not tell me that this fight existed. Somehow, despite not being prepared in the slightest, we finished the fight, but the worst isn't over with because now there's more Victory Road. I thought it'd get easier because now I don't have to manage heals, but against the first ace trainer I run into. Oh no, speed boost, I lose. I actually lose. This marks the amount of Pokemon I've lost to one single route to 3, and after all this is over with, I'm very happy to tell this random nobody to fuck off as Dawn is just up ahead. I find her standing at some stone tablet before she remarks that we should have a battle. At least she asked me first. The battle begins with Alakazam getting instantly KO'd by Shivellus, which baits in Clefairy, who launches a Moonblast as I switch into Apple Pie. Clefairy then reveals that this isn't even her final form, as she begins setting up Carmine in the hopes of obliterating me. I begin by setting her to sleep, but after launching one Earth Power, I realize Apple Pie is not built for this, so I send in Shrek as a strong physical attacker. Clefairy then proceeds to wake up and outspeed Shrek for about 70% of his HP, as we just barely miss out on a kill. I switch back into Apple Pie, who loses about half of his HP as he comes in. A critical hit would kill me here, and I still have to put Clefairy back to sleep, so I decide that the optimal play is to pick a religion at random and start praying, which is a strategy that works as Apple Pie lives the following attack, allowing Yawn to connect. I decide that Omelette is the only one safe to live a Moonblast, so I switch him in as Clefairy falls to sleep. Dawn decides that the power of friendship and the unmatched power of the sun is not enough to beat me, so she decides to give Clefairy performance-enhancing drugs that heal her completely and wake her up. A Moonblast on the following turn drops Clefairy's special attack and marks the beginning of stalling from both sides, which lasts way too fucking long. Eventually I lower Clefairy's special attack to a point where I'm safe to send in Shrek and finally kill the bitch with 2 earthquakes. Torterra comes in, so I switch into Jeff, who gets nailed by an earthquake. Here's where I decide that I'm feeling lucky. I switch into Omelette on an earthquake, but I reckon that Stone Edge will kill me even without a crit. I, the tactical genius that I am, decide to ignore all of this and launch an air slash which relies purely on the outcome, where I get the 60% chance to flinch. Okay, so far so good. Now after that I just need to land another one, which is a 5% chance of missing. To anybody who doubted me, this is you. Mamoswine comes in next, and so I send in Shivellus on an Icicle Crash, and he lives thanks to Focus Sash. Now I just have to pray that Leaf Blade gets a high roll or a crit, once again putting my life in the hands of RNG. The fuck you looking at? Garchomp comes in to clean up, which baits in Vaporeon, a Pokemon who I previously bullied by having Mrs. Popo fry its AI, but I have to decide on an alternative here, and I eventually settle on sending in Clickbait. Clickbait then proceeds to treat the option to use Moonblast like the trigger to an automatic assault rifle by holding it down and never letting go. Vaporeon gets mentally and physically tired of this spam and just goes to sleep, so I take the chance to switch into Omelette. I initially shit myself when I realized that this thing has sleep talk, but a critical hit Moonblast reduces Vaporeon to nothing as Dawn sends in Lopunny, her final Pokemon. If you thought Clefairy was close to fucking up my whole team, check out what this menace does. Lopunny's play of the game is as follows: hit Fake Out, miss Mega Kick, survive a Moonblast with Focus Sash, heal before being hit by a second Moonblast. At last, Drayano's attempts at making Dawn even the slightest bit relevant in this game is over, and we can finally move on to the Pentagon. You know, looking at this and seeing how far we've come, it almost brings a tear to the eye that this is the end of our journey. It truly is a sight to behold. Ow, what the fuck, Barry? You have to fight me. Why? We're here with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Little Barry here was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and has very little time left on Earth. He decided that his final wish was to fight you. Not too sure why. I mean, if I was a kid, I'd probably ask to go to Disney World or meet Jack Black. Alright, fine. I'll do what that pancreatic cancer won't. The battle begins with Barry's Choice Band Staraptor against my Garchomp, and it turns out that Barry learnt from his previous fights as he uses U-turn to switch into Breloom after I switched into Gordon. I switch into Omelette on a Force Palm, but I can't outspeed on the next turn as Breloom goes for Spore. I decide in this moment to give up any dignity that I may have left. I stall out Breloom's attack by repeatedly switching into Gordon, using Protect, and then switching back into Omelette. Breloom eventually dies to Life Orb Chip whilst Omelette is switched in, and this baits in Empoleon. I decide to switch into Shrek, who is able to resist the Flash Cannon before killing with Earthquake. Barry then proceeds to send in Arcanine, showing that in addition to pancreatic cancer, he might have some life-threatening brain injuries, as Shrek is yet again safe to kill with an Earthquake. Staraptor returns and I protect against Double Edge, which Staraptor is now locked into thanks to Choice Band. Choice Band being a rather contradictory name, as the user now has no choice but to watch as their opponent sets up 6 iron defenses before killing with a rock slide. Not even Barry's Heracross can deal with this highly concerning carbon creature, as close combat only does a third of my health, letting rock slide one shot. Snorlax is lost, but my assumption that I've won the battle proves to not be the case. See, Snorlax here has this little known move called Curse, which raises his attack and defense, meaning, hypothetically, if Barry was to spam this move alongside Slackoff, I wouldn't be able to do a damn thing. On an unrelated note, holy shit, I'm gonna fucking die. Snorlax's Earthquakes are now strong enough to where they're penetrating my iron defenses, and I could very well die, as anything else on my team that is immune to Earthquake is threatened by even stronger body slams. On the verge of losing the entire run, I think of possible options and come to a single conclusion. I'm gonna look this Make-A-Wish kid dead in the eyes as I switch between Gordon and Omelette for a solid 20 minutes, as Snorlax loses all of its HP and struggles to death. The battle is finally over. Is he dead? Oh, thank God I can finally go home. That kid was so fucking annoying. See ya. The Elite Four is my final obstacle and features teams that surpass every gym leader I've faced thus far. Not only that, but I have to face them all without breaks, and once I go in, I can't go back. But surely if I prepare hard enough, I should be fine. I just have to look at their teams and devise a plan and... What the fuck's this? Team A, B, C, and D? Is the guy trying to teach me the alphabet? Let me look this up here. What do you mean the teams are randomized? So as it turns out, I don't know what any of their teams are going to be. Sure, they're all similar, but they're different enough to where I can't just have one surefire strategy. All I can do is organize the best of the best from my box, and unfortunately, this does mean dropping Gordon, because he is sure to die a meaningless death if I bring him. And so, here is the final team of this run. The first 2 Elite Four members are more diverse and can't be easily overcome. Starting with Aaron from Part 3, who I find eating ants in his room. The battle begins with Jeff leading against Jan Mega, proving that he's using Team A, arguably the easiest team for me to face with this lead. He tries setting up with Speed Boost, but my Choice Scarf completely ignores it, letting me one-shot with Rock Climb. Vespiquen is next, and Intimidate means that my following Rock Climb just barely doesn't kill. I decide to switch into Omelette as he heals, allowing me to kill with a few air slashes, and this is important because now I bait in Drapion, a Pokemon who definitely destroy my whole team if left unaccounted for. Omelette baits him into using Cross Poison, so I switch back into Jeff, who can now resist it and cleanly one-shot with Earthquake. Heracross is next, holding a Tunnel Vision Scarf, and is baited into using anything that isn't Stone Edge, so I'm safe to switch back into Omelette and kill with an Air Slash. Sizzle threatens huge damage with its Life Orb, so I switch into Shrek, but not even he is strong enough to get the kill, so Apple Pie is brought in to finish the job, and I definitely had to dodge several crits there. Armaldo is last, and is also part of the Choice Cult. So I send in Clickbait, who is holding a Focus Sash, in order to safely tell me what this guy's gonna do. He ends up going for Earthquake, so I switch into Omelette, which is checkmate. We take a visit to the retirement home for one last mugging of the elderly against Bertha. She leads with the Powdon as I lead with Shrek, meaning that she could have one of 2 teams. Waterfall does about 50%, allowing Stealth Rock to be set up, which seriously cripples half of my team. We're able to get a kill with a crit on the next turn. What the fuck, Shrek? You decide to get a crit after Stealth Rock? And Golem is brought in, proving that Bertha is using Team A. My dumbass gets lucky as I overlook Golem's Focus Sash, which would have resulted in me dying to an explosion if Waterfall didn't flinch, and this allows us to kill on the next turn. Shrek, keep doing what you're doing, I never doubted you once. After that, Bertha shows off her own Water Ground type as Wishcash takes the field. It goes for Bounce, which just wastes everybody's time, before trading Earthquakes with Shrek, a series of events in which Shrek emerges as the superior Water Ground type. Gliscor is 4th and only has Wing Attack to damage Omelette, so I decide to switch him in and kill with 2 Moonblast, a decision I would soon regret as Rhyperior is brought in with a Choice Band. The option between Ice Punch and Stone Edge means my entire team is at risk of dying after taking whatever Rhyperior throws, plus Stealth Rock and Sandstorm Chip. I argue that Apple Pie is the most reasonable option because I mean, look at him. He's at full HP, he's neutral to both attacks, he doesn't take Sandstorm Chip. What could possibly go wrong? And so, the Choice Cult claims their first victim. Apple Pie will be fondly remembered, and his sacrifice will not be in vain. Because Rhyperior went for Stone Edge, I'm safe to send in Jeff and set up 2 sword stances to finish off the rest of Bertha's team. Flint is the 3rd member of the Elite Four, and so I devise a plan which accounts for roughly all of his teams. The battle begins with him leading Ninetales and me leading Omelette, and here's where I proceed with the genius plan of crippling Ninetales to nothing more than a coughing baby. This is done through watching it spam overheat for 5 minutes until it realizes that its special attack attack is now lower than the average IQ of a flat earther. After putting it to sleep, I bring in Jeff, who sets up a sword stance before obliterating the entirety of Flint's team. Ninetales, dead. Charizard, deleted. Magmortar, disintegrated. Arcanine, reduced to atoms. Magcargo, he actually lived the rock climb because of Focus Sash. Before dying to confusion and is now also dead. And with that, we win the fight with no effort at all. Except for where I almost died to a Lopunny but outsped me, but we don't talk about that. The last Elite Four member is this random guy reading DeviantArt fanfictions, and I decide to replicate what I did in the last fight. See, Lucian always leads with a Pokemon that sets up screens, so I decide that if he's going to have defenses set up for 8 turns, then I'm going to spend those 8 turns setting up 6 Calm Minds with Mrs. Popo. Espeon, Farigiraf, Gallade, none of them stood a chance against this menace to society. And look at that, he sent in fucking Medicham to fight me. What's he gonna do? Use Choice Scarf, High Jump Kick to one-shot me? That's a stupid I am willing to admit that errors have been made. Fortunately, it's locked into High Jump Kick, so we're safe to kill with Omelette, but now Starmie threatens us with Thunderbolts and Ice Beams. Starmie goes for Thunderbolt as I use Yawn, but I know it used Thunderbolt to bait me into Jeff so it could break my ankles by going for Ice Beam, but I'm too fucking smart for him, and so I switch into Shrek, who tanks the hit, and shit! Okay, well thankfully I can send in Clickbait, who uses Shadow Ball to launch Patrick Star into the stratosphere. Last is Exeggutor, who would have been a huge threat to my team with his Stall moveset, if it wasn't for the fact that he's Lucian's last Pokemon, and so he very quickly dies to 2 air slashes. This leaves just one trainer left standing, the one who's been tormenting me since Eternity and is the strongest trainer of them all. I don't even need to introduce her, you can hear her theme playing from the other room. Cynthia, I don't agree with the charges put against me, so unfortunately I'm here to kill you. What are you, the fucking CIA? I don't care if you're the one that killed Satan. Satan's strongest feat is jump scaring some car dealer. My strongest feat is being able to make any man born in the early 2000s shit themselves anytime they're shown a random image of some beach house. Well, I'll have you know that Lucas said that I'm superior to him at one point, so that has to count for something. Yeah, Lucas just some homeless drug addict who drags kids into warehouses. That doesn't mean much. He's only a drug addict because the government secretly produces and distributes drugs into the black market in order to turn a profit. Whoa, hey, who told you that? Luca did. Alright, fine, you can fight me. Garchomp, crush his balls. The battle begins with Cynthia's Spiritomb against Clickbait, revealing this is Team A, Cynthia's original team from Platinum. I set up 2 Calm Minds before obliterating Spiritomb with a single Moonblast. Roserade is next, and I'm at about 2/3 of my HP, but my sheer natural bulk and special defense boosts let me tank a Sludge Bomb before I command Clickbait to use Blows Up Flowers with Mine. My fucking flowers. Lucario is sent in and establishes his Christian beliefs by removing this organic being of temptation from the battlefield, meaning that I'm now down to just 3 Pokemon. Jeff is safe to come in and outspeed Lucario thanks to Choice Scarf for a one-shot with Earthquake, allowing Lucario to become one with the Lord above. Togekiss is next, so I decide to send in my own Togekiss, but that's when Cynthia's Togekiss reveals a dark truth. This battle now has much more at stake as this Togekiss is revealed to be the father of my own Togekiss, which I received as an egg from Cynthia all the way back in Eternity. Omelette is determined to convert his father back from the Empire in a fearsome duel against him, all as part of an act orchestrated by none other than Emperor Palpitoad. Fuck, I'm reading the wrong script. Omelette uses Yawn to put Togekiss to sleep as he dodges a Thunder Wave, allowing me to safely send in Shrek, who is immune to the following Thunder Wave, before killing Omelette's father after a series of rock climbs and waterfalls that I precisely used so as to avoid Cynthia healing Togekiss. Milotic is brought in and an Earthquake brings her down to less than half health as a Surf does decent damage in return. One more Earthquake should have been enough, but Milotic has luck on her side as she lands a Hypnosis. Shrek isn't fucking around, however. He gets the 1 turn sleep needed to KO Milotic, and with that, Cynthia only has 1 Pokemon remaining, and it just so happens to be her strongest. Garchomp is brought in as the final obstacle of my journey, and despite having the advantage of numbers, this thing still has the potential to ruin any chance I have at victory, no matter how high. With the moveset that it has, it likely won't use Stone Edge, and I'm therefore safe to send Omelette in on an Outrage, and all I have to do is land a Yawn and live whatever the fuck Garchomp throws at me. And Garchomp goes for Sword Stance like a fucking moron, establishing our victory. Shrek is able to come in and resist the following Stone Edge as Garchomp falls to sleep. I misclick a Waterfall which isn't as strong as Earthquake, but thankfully an Earthquake on the following turn is enough to KO Garchomp. We were so close to the end, and with one misclick, Shrek is robbed of victory through being unable to secure a kill before being obliterated by Earthquake. And with that, our run ends because of Garchomp. And by Garchomp I mean this Garchomp. Our choice scarf allows us to outspeed this pseudo-legendary menace and end the run with Dragon Claw. At long last, we've finally beaten Pokemon Renegade Platinum, and the only members of my team remaining are Pokemon that are also found on Cynthia's team, so I guess Cynthia still sort of wins. Well shit, I'll be damned. You beat me. Alright, you have the stronger Garchomp, and that's quite literally the only thing that ever kept me in a position of power, so I guess you run the government now. All my efforts have led to this. I've become the one thing stronger than God. I'm now the President of Japan. As my first decree, I shall do the most evil thing possible. I'm going to normalize gambling and expose it to children through the video game industry. Oh, we actually already do that. These dumbasses on Genshin don't even realize. Oh, damn. Okay, well, I kinda want my cropped dictator legacy to be a bit more original, so I guess I'll just do something a bit more generic, like, I don't know, raise taxes by 20%. Oh, we were gonna raise them by 40%.
What the fuck, Cynthia? I need that money to retire. I'm trying to save up after this little shit stole all of my research earnings.
Shut the fuck up. You know what? I'm going to push this button and it's going to make a law that deletes your pension. I just want to give a big thank you to everybody who watched this series through to its end. It's my first series that I've ever worked on, in case that wasn't obvious. And with that, the saga will continue in Universe because, as it turns out, increasing taxation to the point where cost of living rises to unbearable amounts makes this little thing called an angry mob appear outside of your home, so I have to leave the country forever. Bye.